I have an amazing property tour for you today. This is an extremely affordable multi-generational home in Benbrook, Texas, which is the southwest side of Fort Worth. So if you are interested in homes where you can combine two different generations of adults, or you just want extra space maybe for some kids that are getting a little bit older, this is a great home for you. I can't wait to show you around. Now here I am, I'm at 7109 Woodhinge Drive in Benbrook, so southwest side of Fort Worth again. The home is 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and just over 2,100 square feet. So good size, but not huge. So it is also extremely affordable. Like I said, the price and details will be in the description. That way you can click and find the website with all the other details and pictures and room measurements and all that stuff in there. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Thank you for checking me out. My name is Kiel Lindsey. I'm your property geek, and I am a local DFW realtor. I specialize really on the Fort Worth side of town, but I've sold houses all over DFW. What I specialize in is helping people that own a home currently buy their next home and making those two transactions work at the same time. That is the most difficult transaction in real estate, to get all of that timing right. And over the years, I have developed a proven process and system to make that easier and less stressful. I even have some vendors that I have found that work perfectly in this situation, such as contractors that you pay at close, lenders that have buy before you sell programs, and all sorts of other things to help that homeowner out, sell their home and move into a new one at the same time. So if you or someone you know is in that situation, reach out to me. I would love to have a free, no pressure consultation with them and see how I might be able to help. So without further ado, let's dive into this house. Now behind me, as you see, there's an upstairs area. That is where one of the primary bedrooms is, and I can't wait to show it to you. It is so unique. It really surprised me when I saw it the first time, like what's up there. So I can't wait to show that to you. So I'm gonna start the tour downstairs. Let me jump behind the camera. All right, so here we are at the front door. I'm gonna spin around. There's that beautiful living room I was just standing in. Nice wood burning fireplace. We'll get over to that dining room kitchen area, and then there's the stairs up, which we will come back to. Now, as we move through here, I want to turn again and show you the living area from a different angle here. Plenty of room in here for TV, for sitting, for gathering this, and also this nice big window letting in all this nice natural light. Now, as we move over here, this home was built in 1997, so it's good. So it's going to have a little bit more of a closed-in feel. It's not that big, wide open area that is more common with more modern homes. However, there's still space here. So as I turn around here into the dining area, obviously you saw that window before, but there's this nice cutout here so you can still see into the living area. And of course, this dining area could be turned into a study, an office, if you didn't want to use it as a dining area. And I'm gonna come back over here and show you this cool closet under the stairs. So a little roomier than what Harry Potter had, but nothing really. Nice big storage area. And then we'll move over into the kitchen. Now, the kitchen has been updated. It has newer countertops. They're only a couple years old. New quartz, new appliances, which need to get reset. I see the time's blinking. And that refrigerator does come with the house. So even if you have your own fridge, maybe throw it in the garage. Nice garage fridge. And that door leads to the backyard. We'll go out there here in a little bit. And a little extra storage in those cabinets there as well. Now you do have all this extra space over here. It would be perfect to put a small table at, maybe a buffet here, or some extra storage options possibly. And I'm gonna spin the camera around a little bit. Whoa. As you look over here, there's also plenty of space in this kitchen for an island if you wanted to. Now, I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just throwing out some possibilities here because that's what realtors do. We like to throw out way too many possibilities and confuse people, but a small island, you can buy one of the portable ones or the rolling ones that Amazon sells, or really any hardware store, or a more permanent option if you're so inclined. There's plenty of space in this kitchen, which is one of the things I love about it. So once again, if you have multiple generations in here, we're all trying to cook or do something, you're not really bumping into each other a ton. Now, I do feel like there could be a little bit more counter space, which is why I really like the idea, we'll spin again, of, like you see right here, adding another extra counter space, or shelving or something over here that might be able to help. But otherwise, this is a really nice, big, versatile area here in this kitchen. All right, as we leave the kitchen area, we're gonna head to the downstairs bedroom and bathroom area. So first off, we have the first full bathroom here. Single vanity, nice big mirror. It has a tub shower combo over here. And then right across the hallway is our first bedroom. Now, I don't know the exact measurements off the top of my head, so be sure to click the link in the description below so you can get all the details, the pictures, the price, measurements, and the 3D walkthrough, everything you might need. But I believe this room is about 10 by 11 off the top of my head. So not a huge room, but definitely enough for a child's bedroom or, excuse me, a nursery. Or if you don't need anything like that, maybe this could be the office or reading area of some sort for a little bit more privacy as you combine those generations. And then you have a nice first primary bedroom. I love the vaulted ceilings in here. A little bit taller. It makes it feel a little roomier in here, which I really like. Definitely bigger than another bedroom, which it should be. On the left there, you can see the bathroom, and then on the right, the closet. We're gonna check that closet out first. Nice big closet. I'll show you the clothes hangers there, and then in the back here, another little kind of nook cubby hole area. I'm sure if you are more organizationally inclined than I am, you can turn that into something much more efficient. And then you have some more shelving over here. Always gonna love more storage. The second bathroom over here, downstairs, the first primary one we're gonna look at, double vanity, plenty of cabinet space, nice big mirror, and then of course the shower. Now I want to point out that this shower is a little oversized. It's not your standard cube that you would see in a lot of newer homes. You know, some of the newer homes have exquisite showers and others just have that small little cube that's like 3 foot by 3 foot. This one is a little bit longer, more rectangle, a little bit more space to it. So really nice to have that extra room in there. So as we walk back into the living area, we're past the dining room. That's most of your, well, that's the downstairs. We'll head up the backyard here in a little bit after we look at the upstairs. So let's head upstairs. Here I am in the upstairs loft. I made it upstairs. I'm barely winded. And I wanted to show off the space up here, which could obviously be an upstairs living area, another sitting study area, whatever you wanted to turn it into, you have extra space to do more with. So I know one of the concerns when you're combining generations sometimes is privacy. Where am I going to go to just be alone or get some extra space? Well, here's one of those spaces. Yeah, it is open to the downstairs, so there might be some competing noises there, but you can be in the same house and still be apart if you are so inclined. Also, it's another great gathering space for relaxation. So anyway, I really enjoy this whole upstairs loft area. Let me get back behind the camera and keep showing you around. So here's a closer look at the loft. And then of course, your view over the banister. As you look down on the peasants downstairs. Just kidding. Move over this way. This door here leads to the attic and one of I believe your upstairs air conditioner. So I'm not gonna go out there, but now we'll head into this super unique upstairs primary room, which I love. I love that it has its own fireplace. This is the thing that really kind of shocked me, is that I wasn't expecting 2 fireplaces when I first previewed this house. I think it's super cool that it's there. You can mount a TV over it, really kind of focus your furniture up here around it. Then you also have this really nice window right here, letting in some more natural light. This really is a very large room. I'm turning around here so you can see it all. It has a ton of space. You could easily get a king-size bed in here, a couch, a dresser. There's a lot of different configurations you could do for this room, but this is a lot of space. So once again, check the description for the measurements on the room. So you might be able to start planning where your furniture would go. And we'll move over into, before we move into the second primary bathroom, it gets confusing when I'm trying to talk about two different primary areas, but there's a gap from the wall to the ceiling there. Now, some people, that's not gonna be a plus. Other people, they're gonna love that. There's extra room for decoration. Some people just love the aesthetic there. So whatever you prefer, I just wanted to point that out and make sure you're aware. But as we move into the bathroom, you have your bathtub here with this updated tile. I think that's pretty cool. You have your double vanity up here with 2 mirrors, plenty of light, and then you also have 2 closets. So there's closet number 1. And now you'll notice that this bathtub is not a combo. This is just a bathtub because there is another shower right here. Now, this is your standard cube shower. So downstairs has a little bit larger shower, which could be perfect if the downstairs primary was for an older generation. They might be able to get some assistance chairs or furniture in that shower that would help them out a little bit more. While upstairs, obviously, you may not need that as much. So very cool to have both the shower and the tub in this one, or the upstairs bathroom, I should say, and the 2 closets. Very cool little space. Now you've seen the upstairs and the downstairs master suites. I love the fact that this home has these two areas, so it can be a multi-generational home. Now, I told you earlier I was going to talk about the pros and cons. That is one of your biggest pros about this house. The other big pro is its affordability. It is currently sitting at $345,000 in the market. And most multi-generational homes will have a second house or things like that. And it drives the affordability way up, or I should say down, because it's less affordable. It drives the price up, the affordability down. So having a multi-generational home with 2 primary suites in the $345,000 range is phenomenal. If this is something that you could fit, I would highly encourage you to come out and take a look for yourself. Now, a con of this house, as you've probably noticed as I walked through, there's only 3 bedrooms. So if you have a large family, this is probably not gonna be a great house for you. You'd be bursting at the seams. Maybe you could camp in the loft area over there on the upstairs, or as I'm about to show you in the backyard, maybe throw some kids in the shed or something. Just kidding, don't actually do that. But so this house was perfect for the right fit. It obviously is going to fit a ton of people, but if you just need for just 4 people, 2 generations, whatever that looks like for you guys, I think it could fit perfectly for the right setup. Maybe your kids are gone, but you need mom and dad to move in with you. All of that could work. You still have a guest room downstairs. There's still multiple areas for entertainment, even in this nice large room by yourself, or the loft area where you could have separate TV watching or whatever, but also places to gather and be together. So I love that. Now, I'll keep showing you around, but one of the other things I want to touch on before we go and show you the backyard is the location. I mentioned this is in Benbrook. It is Southwest Fort Worth. Now, say what you will, Fort Worth is better than Dallas. I will dispute that with anyone. That's a hill that I will die on. So if you're looking for a high quality of living that doesn't cost as much, the Fort Worth side of town is 100% where you want to be. I love this location in Southwest Fort Worth. The community has everything you need right nearby. There's a Walmart nearby. There's grocery, which has obviously grocery shopping, plenty of restaurants, plenty of other stores and shops that you can visit right there off 377. Now, keep going south on 377 a little bit, and you're going to get to Granbury. Granbury has a whole other host of really cool small town Texas shops and restaurants, and the historic downtown area is super fun and cool to go to over a weekend, or heck, when you're this close, you could just run down there. It's only 30 minutes away for just dinner one night or whatever. It doesn't have to be quite the event. But there are tons of very, very cool beds and breakfasts down there too. You could go spend the weekend if you wanted to. Now, on the other, heading north a little bit, you're only about 20 or 30 minutes away from downtown Fort Worth. So if you want a little bit fancier time, tons of museums and upscale restaurants, shopping over there. Downtown Fort Worth is by far one of the coolest downtown areas across the nation. So if you are so inclined and want to be close to those things, a small town Texas feel 30 minutes one way, the more modern Texas feel the other, this is such a great location. You're also right off of 820 and I-20. So you are 30 minutes to an hour from most of DFW. Now, if you work on the far northeast side of DFW, this is probably not a great place for you, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Google Maps are pretty easy to use these days, and you can just plug it in and see what your drive time would look like. But if this area interests you at all, I will also go over this when I talk about the affordability and your payment stuff here a little bit later, but it has a very low tax rate, and I'll show you what that is here coming up. But first, now that I've talked about the location and how great the house is, let me show you the backyard real quick before we head on and start talking about affordability. Okay, so we are back in the kitchen, and this door that I told you about earlier. Oops, I forgot to turn the light on, but here is the laundry room area leading right out to the backyard. Now I like this, the light does work. I like this little area because it's not right next to the garage. So many times your laundry room is right next to the garage and then the doors hit each other. I hate that. But here we go in the backyard. Nice big backyard. Some nice big trees here, help provide some shade. Got a nice shed, so help with the storage area in the garage. There's the house behind me. So let me walk into the yard and I'll show you maybe from underneath the shade trees over here. So I'll spin back around. So another pro and con here, this is a nice big backyard, as you can see, but there's no patio covering. Something easy to add, especially if you're handy. You could always hire someone to do it, but you know, I want to make sure I'm pointing out the good and the bad here. I'm not just a used car salesman trying to sell you on everything. I'm sure you can obviously see that there's no patio covering, but want to make sure you point that out. But the size of the yard is excellent. So if you have pets, kids, you can even add maybe a play set. Or if you don't have kids and you just want to add a covering or just some lawn chairs and sit out in the backyard and enjoy it, you definitely could. Now let's head back in and wrap this thing up. So as I've been showing you around, as you can see, this house is move-in ready. It's a huge pro. Not all homes in this price range are as nice as this with the upgraded flooring, the upgraded counters. It's pretty clean. Everything works. So you should be very good moving into this home immediately and living in it. Now, the con to this is it could use some updating. Now, I'm gonna do your classic turn your con into a pro approach here. So it could use some updating, which isn't great, but that's also why the house is so affordable. Now, one of the things I think that's been lost over time is too many people want just move-in ready, and they don't think about forcing appreciation and building value in their home as often as people used to. So I see this as a huge pro, because if you plan on being here, let's say 5, 8, maybe even 10 years, you're gonna get market appreciation in the house. The house will go up in value over time, and historically that's what real estate does. Well, when you have a home that needs some updating, you can either A, do it yourself, or over time find people that might do it cheaper, or even hire contractors. Hiring contractors early in your stay makes the house more valuable later on via inflation. Now, I'm not going to all the reasons and economics behind that, but the earlier you upgrade the house, the better it is later on. If you're going to pay a contractor to do it anyway, mainly because the upgrades are cheaper now than they will be in 5 years. That's really the basis of that. So as you upgrade the house, you force appreciation. You get the double dip on appreciation, meaning in the market and the forced appreciation. So when you do go to sell it, you have a lot more value in the home than when you purchased it, which is exactly what you want. I've represented several clients over the years that have done just that. They bought a home that needed a lot of work. They got a great deal in the house. They did $20,000, $30,000 worth of work themselves. Now this house doesn't need nearly that much, but I'm just saying they put a lot of work in the house and we went to sell it. It was worth way more than they paid for it. They really made a killing on selling that house. So as you move in with, maybe your multi-generation or just your kids, think about long-term what you can do with this house and build value into it as an investment. I don't think like the financial experts that call your home just a liability or an asset. It's an investment. it's going to cost you right now, and you're not going to see that money until you want to sell it. Maybe along the way you do a refinance, that's up to you. But really, once you sell it, you get to then take that money and move it into your next house, next investment, whatever you want that to be. With all that being said, now I want to take you back to my office and actually talk about the affordability. How much does this house cost now? What is that payment? What does that money look like? And talk that through and maybe see if this is actually something that you want to consider. If so, send me a message. You can find me on Instagram, leave a comment down below. However you want to get a hold of me, let me know you want to come see this house and I will reach out. We'll set that up. But now, back to my office. Hey, welcome back to my office. Thank you for joining me through the home tour at 7109 Woodhinge. Now I want to dive into the financials. So if you're this far into the video, hopefully you're at least curious about the house and what it could cost. I want to really demonstrate how affordable this house is, especially if you're splitting this with 2 generations worth of hopefully income. The tax rate's really low, so I can't wait to show you that, and a few little cool financing tricks that could make this even more affordable. So let's dive right into it. First up, what I really want to talk about is Benbrook as a whole. So we already know that Tarrant County is one of the more affordable counties in the DFW Metroplex. And you look at this, and this is a 3-month data point, so it's a rolling number here. On average, Benbrook is even cheaper than the rest of Tarrant County, which is really nice. So it's even more affordable. What's great is, as everything else is getting more expensive, people are buying in Benbrook. So this could be a limited time opportunity to get in while Benbrook is still more affordable. You can see year over year, the rest of Tarrant County only appreciated 0.3% so far, while Benbrook is up 4.7%. So this is a very good opportunity to get in while the prices are still going up. Great time to make an investment in your future and buy a home. But let's dig into the comps and show you why this particular house is such a good deal. So this is the screen that I use as a realtor. So it may be a little confusing. Feel free to pause right here, check it out. Here's 3 closed transactions. So whenever you are looking at pricing a home, the first step is to say what has closed recently, so usually within 90 days, and what did they close at? What was the closing price? So there's 2 parts to this. Is first, what did it actually close at, which is over here. These numbers over here, the current price. And then did the sellers actually give any money to the buyers? That would be here. And in this case, it's 0, which is actually fairly uncommon right now. So that's pretty good, a good indication for Benbrook. Another really nice indication that this area is pretty booming is that people are actually paying more for the house than it was listed for in 2 of these instances. That's not happening very much either. On average, across the DFW, we're seeing about a 3 to 4% discount versus list price, but 2 of these homes the buyers paid more than the list price for it. Very good. Now, when I highlight this one here, this is the house we're looking at, Woodhinge, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, which we saw. And then right here, you have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1 extra bathroom at our subject property, Woodhinge, 7109 Woodhinge, and then 1 less bedroom than what we saw, that giant upstairs room. However, our subject has about 75 more square feet, negligible, not very much, but it's still a bigger house. So at $417,000, now this is probably a nicer home. We talked about Woodhinge, and like here's some pictures of this. A few more updates and things like that. We talked about that at the end of that video about how great it is that you can buy it now and force appreciation. Because right now we're seeing that relatively same age, they're only 6 years apart, relatively same size, same area. It's only 0.4 miles away. Look at this. If you bought at $335,000, you have the potential to put another $80,000 in equity back into the house with some upgrades. And of course, you're going to spend money to do that. But that is a huge potential right here. So $417,000, $392,000, and this house is even smaller. It's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and even smaller. A little bit bigger lot. That's part of it, part of the difference. But the difference of about 0.07 acres is not a whole lot. When you see those lots, they probably don't feel a whole lot different when you're actually there. So when you look at these guys, if I took these 3 and then just averaged them out, let's do that real quick. Once again, pause if you want to take a closer look at this. But we have two lines here. I have my average and I have my median. So what it's telling me is that their current average price and median, 365 and 363, pretty close. So let's just round to 364 and about $185 a square foot. Here's Woodhinge right here, our subject, and it's at 335. So it's $30,000 less than the average and about $30 a square foot less than the comparables here. Now, I can't tell you why the house has been on the market for so much longer than these, but what I can tell you is that this is an incredible deal. Looking at this, they started the listing at $370,000. Now it's down to $335,000. That's a huge price jump. And what that tells you is that the seller wants to move the property. If you were to make the offer at $335,000 and get it there, as you can see by the numbers, you were getting an incredible deal. Even if this was just at the average of $360,000, well, you might second guess, but as it goes down and down, now that is a really good deal. Now let me show you the tax rate and the payment information even at the $335,000 price. So as I come over, here's the current tax roll for what the county is saying. The county's saying $328,000. Those are normally low, so that's good for you as a buyer because it means you pay less in taxes. You don't want the county to be at full market value, or else you pay more in taxes. But right now it's about $7,000 a year in taxes for an average, or the tax rate of 2.1286. Across DFW, this ranges on average from 2.4 to 2.6. Anything below about 2.3, 2.4 is considered low, is very good. Anything higher than maybe 2.6, 2.7, I see you're getting a little bit on the high side. Even at 2.5, honestly, it can really affect your payment as that goes up, because a lot of people, taxes and insurance are actually more than their actually loan payment. So when you look at the whole total payment together, taxes and insurance are a very big chunk of that. So looking at the payment, this is how I've broken it down. So for this house, it would be very wise to use an FHA loan. It's definitely within the limits. The max is $498, you can see. And this would be at the home price of $335,000 with only 3.5% down, meaning your down payment over here is only $11,700. That's awesome. Oh, but this is at a 6.25% interest rate, which is about average for FHA. I actually have a lender right now that's getting much closer to 6%. I'm not going to put that in there because you may not qualify for that, but at 6.25%, that's a pretty good interest rate. And all that really breaks down to, of course, is the payment here of $29.46 a month, of which P&I, which is principal and interest, is about $2,000, taxes $582 a month, insurance about $190 a month, and mortgage insurance $148 a month. And now, granted, keep in mind, I have to say this, these are just estimates. What you qualify might change some of these dramatically as your interest rate goes up. Obviously, so does your P&I. Depending on your history with insurance, this number might be higher. So if these numbers look good, and considering that $29.46 could be close to an estimate, like a ballpark figure, if that looks good, you'd like to dig into what you could actually qualify personally with using your numbers and your credit history and your income, I would love to connect you with one of my fantastic lenders that I work with here that can get you a personalized estimate for exactly what that would look like. And go over strategies that might save you even more money per month. Now let's dig into my last little bit here, the look at a different technique to actually save you some money. What I'm about to show you is what's called a rate buy down. Now, this is something that gets very confusing for a lot of buyers, because if you only have to do this once every, hopefully 7 to 10 years, you forget what you learned last time usually. There's two types of rate buy downs. Now, the most common, especially up until about a couple of years ago, was the permanent rate buy down. You may have heard this referred to as points, like I'm buying points off my loan. And what that really means is that I'm going to give the lender money up front, basically prepay some interest, and I'm going to get that interest rate lowered on my... What I'm about to show you, though, is a temporary rate buy down. It means it only lasts for a couple of years, depending on how much you buy. And it really only makes sense if the seller does this for you. That is a great buyer strategy. And honestly, it works a lot better for sellers too. because the amount of money they would have to drop off of the price of the house to get the exact same payment for the buyer is 3 or 4 times the amount that the temporary rate buy down does. So let me jump in and show this to you. So this is what it looks like. So same house. Now, what's going to have to happen here is the seller will have to contribute $7,374. And for some sellers, that's a big ask in today's market. They may not have that. To help offset that and to show you the power of this, I've said, okay, buyer, we know that this is going to appraise or at a higher rate because I just showed you the comps. It should appraise actually somewhere between 350 and 360. So if I go up to 340, you're still making a good investment here. And so the seller, the 5,000 minus the 7,000 is only really about $2,300 different to them. And the great thing for the buyer is, so this is what's called a 2-1 temporary buy down. So in the first year, it's a 2% reduction from our 6.25%. So your first year, it's only 4.25%. And then in year 2, it jumps up to 5.25%. So 2-1. So in the year 1, it's a 2% reduction. In year 2, it's a 1% reduction. The numbers keep flip-flopping, and so it may get a little confusing. Go back and rewatch that if that gets a little confusing. Hopefully 1 or 2 more listens will help. But really, you're getting a 2% reduction on your interest rate in the first year, which lowers your total payment to $2,619. In year 2, with only 1% reduction, that's about a $2,800 payment versus the $3,000. And in year 3 through 30, so the rest of the life of the loan, is $3,000. Now, you might be asking, why would I do this if I only get a reduction for a couple of years? If you're asking that question, you're asking very good questions. And the answer is you are basically taking a small risk. The gamble you're making is that interest rates will continue to come down and you will be able to refinance at a lower rate, say in about a year or so. You don't really want to go all the way through the 2-1 buy down. That it would not be the end of the world, because we're going to qualify you at the higher payment. But the trick here is that you want to qualify, you want to refinance sometime before it runs out. Let's say in the next year, the rate does drop somewhere in the low 5s. You can use whatever's remaining of that temporary buy down money as part of a permanent buy down. And you have a much better payment for the life of the loan. That's the strategy that is really good for everyone right now, or for buyers right now. Thank you for sticking with me. I know this was a long video. Hopefully you got a ton of value out of it. This is a fantastic house for anyone looking for a multi-generation setup. Hopefully you have fallen in love. You've seen the financial information. Estimates only. Please talk to a lender to get your exact amounts. But hopefully that looks okay, especially in something I didn't mention earlier, but if you're looking at about that $3,000 payment thinking, man, that seems a little high, I would like to reiterate that the hope here, especially if you're looking at this as a multi-generational property, is that both generations have some sort of income and can contribute to that. Even if it's not 50-50, maybe it's 60-40 or 70-30, and can help ease that burden on the primary income generating group here. So that's the strategy for multi-generational that makes it so powerful, is that maybe you couldn't afford a house this nice without that second income. But now you guys can get in there and you can share income and get a nicer place for both of you to live in while you're taking care of the older generation. And then later on down the road, you could sell, you have a nicer place that's appreciating faster, and you hopefully put some extra work into it, made it even more, forced the appreciation even higher. And then when you get ready to sell it, you can buy an even nicer place. I'm going to keep rolling that forward. And it's a fantastic way for an older generation to transfer wealth tax-free, because they're just paying a mortgage. So maybe the older generation can take the entire mortgage payment. How great would that be if you were in that position? I know not everyone is, but the older generation makes most of the payments for the younger generation, and it's a transfer of wealth without paying taxes on it, without having to go through probate, or without having to do any of the stuff you normally have to do, because they are in the house taking advantage of that. And hopefully, if the older generation is paying the mortgage and all the other stuff, the younger generation can save massive amounts of money now and really plow it into their future. So anyway, thank you again for joining me. Hopefully you want to come see this house. If you did get some value out of this or you appreciate the video, please hit that like button. That would make me extremely happy and make me feel good, hopefully, that someone got some value out of this. Also, if you want to come see the house, talk to your realtor, schedule a showing. It is in the MLS right now, ready for showings. If you don't have a realtor, send me a message and contact me. I would love to show you this house and hopefully get you into your dream home. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic day.